You know, Brandon, it's been a minute since I've had a real drink.
Proper drink.
A proper drink. It's the end of dry January, and I'm excited to be back.
We even found a speakeasy.
Yeah, we're live on location here in a speakeasy. But you're like, what? But I know those of you listening at home, you're saying we are live on location, but who is we? And this is, of course, the Gin and Thomas podcast. With me, your host, Thomas, as always. And then, as always, we are joined today by a special guest, and that is today, Brandon Churchill. How you doing?
Hey, buddy.
Damn, been a while. The first time I've seen you since the end of
Prohibition?
dry January. Yeah, Prohibition. A prohibition of the mind. But anyway, we're kicking it off in a good way. We're hitting it with the classic, the old fashioned.
Beautiful. For a couple of mobsters in this speakeasy.
We're getting back to our old fashioned ways of having an old fashioned.
Just a couple of guys being dudes.
Pretending
like we're old and
no
fashion.
better way to describe it. So let's just get right into it. It's been too long. I don't want to be waiting any longer.
It smells delicious.
It better. So
ooh. Okay.
Yeah. You know, I'm letting it develop in the palate before I rate it because it's been a while.
Let it marinate.
I will say though, my tastes are definitely a little different now after my month off. I have to get used to
the bite of the liquor.
Yeah.
Yep. I am familiar.
All right. So today's recipe actually comes from the Essential Cocktail book. Remember that cool black one, the Mad Men style one?
Beautiful. Murdered out with a little bit of gold.
So the book here, the recipe is 1 sugar cube or a teaspoon, or 1/4 ounce of simple syrup, 2 to 3 dashes of Angostura bitters, and 2 ounces of rye. You know, and so that's what we did. But I did it slightly different. I did a Demerara rich simple syrup, so it's a 2-to-1 ratio with Demerara syrup. And this was actually based on some research I did, as I feel that Demerara, it gives it more of a rounder flavor, and I feel like that takes a little bit of edge off of the rye as opposed to like just a regular simple syrup, which is just like sweet.
Right.
So Demerara, I think, gives it that rounder flavor with the molasses, and similar to how it's like, oh, red meat, red wine, I'm kind of this like brown liquor, brown sugar kind of guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if this was
sense.
like if we were making like a mojito, you would either use sugar or regular simple syrup, not Demerara, depending on which rum. Maybe you're doing like a spiced mojito.
Okay.
And then 2 to 3 dashes of Angostura bitters. I actually also threw in a couple dashes of orange bitters as well, because I really wanted the orange to come through today.
I definitely shows. It definitely shows.
And so how else we also did that was we also had a orange peel in the mixing glass when we mixed it, so we kind of let it like the ice cubes beat it up and express it a little bit and infuse while we're in there. And so then that with the orange bitters and expressing the orange over the top. I like orange. What can I say?
You're a citrusy boy.
Yeah, and then
a bitter person.
And then for our rye, we used Rittenhouse rye. And I was talking to you about this a little bit before the pod.
Real quick, I have a question.
Yeah.
An old fashioned, does it have to be a rye?
No, you can use a bourbon as well.
Okay. Thank you.
And so, yeah, I used Rittenhouse rye, and here's the thing: I was talking to you about this a little bit before, and it's a pretty good rye for its price point, and it's pretty reliable for all these drinks, and so it's just like always sold out. It took me a while to track down this bottle, and when I went to Total Wine, it was the only one left.
So it's like the best for the money, is that?
Yeah, and it's just like a good because it's also this it's a 100 proof bonded rye, and bonded is like this very specific like government rating, which we'll get into actually.
I was gonna say, if you want to, for our second one, I do actually have a Jack Daniel's bonded in that decanter behind you.
Yeah, maybe. So anyway, and so a little bit of the old-fashioned history. I have this book here. It's the Oxford Companion to Spirits and Cocktails.
Textbook.
It has an entry. Yeah, it is pretty much a textbook. And I just want to go into a little bit of the old-fashioned history here. And so, but like overall, just in general, it used to be like you'd go to a bar and say like, I'll have a whiskey cocktail, a gin cocktail. Things were always like reliably like sugars, bitters, and ice, and then and then whatever spirit. And so that's kind of what cocktails were. And so then as all these cocktails developed, and people would be like, oh, I'll have a fancy whiskey cocktail. And so like they were just these very generic terms. And so it says here in the book, while many accounts have put the birthplace of the old-fashioned as the Pendennis Club in Louisville, Kentucky, people were ordering old fashions in Chicago a year before the Pendennis Club was founded in 1881, and a full 3 years before it even had a bar. The Pendennis Club may have popularized the drink, but that would have been the most that it could or should claim. And during Prohibition in the World War II years, the old-fashioned ran into hard times, while the recipe for many standards, such as the martini, the Manhattan, and the daiquiri, managed to escape without much doctoring. The old-fashioned was not so fortunate. By the late 1940s, it was too often turned into an over-diluted mess, topped with more water or club soda than there was spirit in the drink. Worse, it was often over-sweetened and made rather flaccid, with the addition of a muddled orange wheel and the smashed remains of a processed maraschino cherry. And that, I think, would ruin a drink, because you already shouldn't be mixing with orange juice unless you're adding some extra acid to it.
Yeah, for sure.
These changes to the recipe made account for the severe drop-off in the drink's popularity during the latter half of the 20th century. But then there was this, resurgence of cocktails in, like, the early 2000s, and then, like, all these people doing their... pre-Prohibition cocktails is very popular now, so that's led to a big comeback. But the alleged origin for this, like in the Pendennis Club, was this guy walked into the bar and said, "I'd like an old-fashioned whiskey cocktail." And so these cocktails had kind of developed, and he was like, "Oh, I want like an old-fashioned one,
right?
Old-fashioned whiskey cocktail," and that's how you get the bitters, sugar, and ice and liquor. You know what I mean? Because that's just, really, that's what almost every cocktail is. But
in some form or another, yeah.
Yeah, well, because, Death & Co., a bar in New York, they write these books, the ones I showed you, and one of them, the Cocktail Codex, they kind of say, like, there's only 6 drinks, and then you just customize those
it's
from
a
there.
Variation on those 6, yeah.
And that's for, like, standard stuff like this. Obviously, there's going to be, like, the wild tiki stuff or the overcomplicated craft thing, but if you're just trying to be, like, a good, reliable bartender... And that's how most drinks are made. Most cocktails now are just a riff on something else. You know what I mean?
100%.
This is a riff on the left. Or like the white Negroni. Totally a different drink. It's made with like French ingredients instead of Italian. And they're just things that are just totally different. You know what I mean? Like you
Keep
could...
that shit away from me.
It might be good.
I will stick to my Italian one, thank you.
But it's just like you really could have come up with a different name. But the guys... I'll get more into the history when we do a white Negroni. Or maybe I'll do a white Negroni and I'll keep it away from you.
Well, I'll try it, but...
But the guys were like, oh, I want a Negroni. But then I guess like it was hard to get the Italian ingredients, like the Campari, and so they got all these French ones, and then they're just like, oh, we'll call it a white Negroni. Ah, ha, ha, ha.
Should call it a pretentious Negroni.
Yeah. So, Brandon, what are you thinking for this beverage?
Well, I definitely think it's on par with a Negroni. It's definitely got some of the similar vibes.
Mm-hmm.
But
real quick, by the way, you threw in the clear ice cube.
Love it.
Could be the move. It is the move.
It is the move.
But it looks so good.
Yeah.
With like the orange peel.
Well, I told you when I got them, we're elevating our game.
Oh, yeah.
We're not screwing around anymore.
Yeah,
Thomas.
I found a way to make some clear ice at home without those fancy molds, which I want to get some of those.
Is it a cooler?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway,
yeah,
but so
I've heard of that.
So what are you thinking for this drink here?
I do like, before I give you my rating, Thomas. I do like the amount of orange that you put into this.
I was about to say my favorite thing is the amount of orange I put in.
I really do, because I've had some old fashions, believe it or not, and they're just like slap you in the face with a rye.
Yeah. Well, we didn't do a taste test of the rye, but maybe we can do it later, or just smell it. It's a sharp rye.
I would like to get a little quarter of a shot of that.
Yeah.
I think the only thing this is missing is that cherry.
You think so?
Yeah, I think a little bit of a cherry hint in there is always a good bonus.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna give it 6 3/4 picture frames.
Okay. You have
Gold picture frames.
I was gonna say you have to be here to understand that reference. But as
we
for
are
me,
in a Chicago speakeasy
with just empty picture frames.
It's actually an empty speakeasy because I don't know if you know this. Prohibition's over.
Oh yeah, so you can just go to a regular bar now.
Yeah, you could just go to a bar.
As for me, I'm gonna go 8 out of 10 blue agave. 8.5.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know. Actually, maybe 9. 9 out of 10 blue agaves because I think this is a great drink. I think I made it the way I like it with all the orange.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go 9 out of 10. I really, really like this. I just didn't want to be too excited on my first drink back, but I'm going to go 9 out of 10.
I listened to the Ward 8 episode,
mm-hmm.
and I think we put a Ward 8.
Ward 8 is a 9.1. We should do, honestly, we should just whip up some Ward 8s sometime and just drink them, because they're so good. We keep talking about it, but we haven't had them.
I know, we need to put them back
and they're easy to make.
Rotation. Yeah, they are.
But
Super easy.
Ward 8s are so good. Honestly, maybe I should have gone back and make a Ward 8 a 10. I don't know why. I'm just afraid of using a 10.
Well, why don't we just put it right here? The Ward 8 is a 10.
Ward 8 is a 10. Update the rankings. So next time you're listening to Ward 8, just be like, oh, 10.
Yeah, it's a 10. Regardless of what we say.
Yeah, but no, this is...
we didn't want to... It was pretty early on. We didn't want to give something a 10 right away.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But yeah, this is really good. I really like it.
No, I think the orange you put in here is it's not overbearing. It's not too much orange. It complements the rye really well, and it doesn't have as much of a bite as you would think from a rye. So
yeah, and
it's well balanced.
One thing that I think has worked out well is the Demerara syrup. I think it's properly mixed in, and it's not like all at the bottom.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And that's one thing too, is I was kind of messing around, seeing how I wanted to bring this to the show.
Sure.
And so I did it at first with the sugar cube, and it just wasn't coming out the way I wanted.
Like it didn't mix up well enough, or didn't dissolve?
It didn't dissolve as well, and it says like muddle it with the bitters.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And some say throw like a little splash of water in, and I just couldn't get the balance right. But a lot of times when I was muddling it, the sugar would just be stuck to the bottom of my muddler in the little grooves. And I was like, I really want to make it like the old way. But then I whipped up the Demerara syrup, and I wasn't sure how I wanted to do that. Did I want to do simple, semi-rich, rich? But I went with rich.
Hold on. So you made the simple syrup?
Yeah, that's why it's in my mason jar, which is now in the fridge. Yeah, I made that at home.
How'd you do that?
2 cups of Demerara syrup to 1 cup of water.
That's it?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, and I had an absolute panic attack thinking that I burnt it because it kind of smelled like...
Oh, so you got to do it over heat?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it kind of smelled... I didn't let it boil, I just... Good. Until it was just mixed in. And I was like, I don't know, it just smelled cooked to me. And then I was trying to taste it, and I let it cool down a little bit, but it was still really thin.
Uh-huh.
And so I wasn't getting a lot of sweetness,
right? Because
it was just so thin. And I was just like, I fucked this up, man. It was so bad. And then I gave myself like my stomach really hurt because I just ate so much sugar. Because I was just like, what is going on here? And then I made a different simple syrup that night for something else we're gonna do, and I was just drinking that. I'm like, oh man, I feel like crap.
I think you ate like a whole cake.
Yeah. No, that's what it felt like, and I desperately needed people food.
Uh-huh.
And so, the only thing I had, available was just this tin of tuna. So I opened a tin of tuna, put some Cajun seasoning on it, mixed it up, and just ate that.
Honestly, and that doesn't sound that bad.
No, it was pretty good, but I just felt like a cat.
Yeah.
Because I'm eating out of a tin of tuna, and then my cat walks up and starts, pawing at me.
It's hey, yo, you're eating my food.
Yeah, so, And so then I have, sugar tuna breath.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I just went on this whole story talking to my girlfriend. I'm like, what's crazy about the history of sugar? It was actually because of all this slavery, and then that led to the rum, but the first rum was terrible because it was just the fermented byproduct. And then she was like,
get away from me.
Yeah. I'm literally trying to do anything else except listen to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, the old-fashioned. But yeah, no, anyway, we haven't done an old-fashioned yet.
Surprisingly.
We want to get...
How did we get through that?
I was thinking, too. I'm like, oh, man, I would love to do, a smoked maple syrup old-fashioned. Can't be doing that if we haven't done the OG.
I mean, we've done that before where we did some of the other ones before in OG, but...
I mean, kind of. Like our eggnog White Russian.
Yeah.
I will say this. After drinking that one...
It's hard to drink a
Well, I was
regular
gonna say,
White
and then I've gone to just using regular cream with that.
Yeah.
But the vanilla vodka, the amaretto, and the coffee liqueur, I don't want to drink a normal vodka and coffee liqueur White Russian. So that's my White Russian recipe now.
Say it again.
You know what I mean?
Fully?
No, so I don't want to go back to drinking regular
Got it.
White Russians or even black Russians with just the
like
vodka
the
and
Kahlua.
yeah. No, get out of here. This is my new
Vanilla vodka.
and then the amaretto and the coffee liqueur. Yeah.
Lovely.
And you know what? Maybe throw in some chocolate bitters.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Oh, dang.
that would be really good. Oh, and that's the other thing. I'm making my own bitters. I have them infusing in the basement.
Oh, yeah, you talked about this last time. You finally found the rum.
Yeah, Ray and nephew. It was really hard to track down. So I have what are they called? Not amaretto, aromatic. Sorry,
yeah.
Aromatic bitters and a citrus bitters. And then I'm going to take that citrus bitters because it's very, it has grapefruit, lemon, lime, and orange. And so I'm going to taste that. And then any more specific bitters recipe, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to reinfuse this, but with some lime peels now to give it that extra boost. So
nice.
And I kind of got that idea in those recipes from the Waldorf Astoria bar book here. Dude, my house is a library of these cocktail books now.
I love it.
It's not sustainable. I have no space because I already have a bunch of books I haven't read, but I've been flipping through these and I'm loving it. And and we're actually going to be diving into this book today. I didn't just bring it for show and tell. We're gonna be diving in here. Mm-hmm.
That's what I love about these cocktail books is they're not just for reading, but they're also like an aesthetic you put on a shelf and
absolutely.
They look beautiful.
Yeah, so I have like these grease stains on the back, but I have no idea how those got there. I know. But yeah, dude, no, I'm revolutionizing the game here. Well, and especially, I made these simple syrups, but they're very simple. Like, they're nothing crazy, but...
Oh, you're telling me a simple syrup is simple?
But like between this book, and then I also have a book on different infusions. Dude, there is like a ramen cocktail out there. We're going to make it. You know what I mean?
You have to.
But it's
I've already got the aesthetic ready for it.
But it's just like, and it's this very like umami infused vodka with like all this stuff, and I'm like, bro, that sounds amazing. So there's stuff like that. I have ones on all kinds of bitter recipes, like the bitters I'm making. I'm using this Ray and Nephew overproof rum, and then that's because the Waldorf Astoria is like, look, you can use something like vodka, but like if you use a rum, it adds like a rustic quality.
Love it.
That it's like starting the inning with a player on first base.
Yeah,
it's like you just have that little extra depth to it. But then this bitters book I have, some of the recipes are like, you're going to use a bourbon for the base on this one. You're going to use whatever. So anyway, all kinds of great stuff. You know what I mean? And then there's some that are like more exotic bitters as well from a different book. And it's like, get these weird, obscure things. And then here's a cocktail. And what's cool is all these books too, they'll have a very specific, how would I ever use that in my life?
Right.
But then they're like, here's 4 or 5 recipes.
There you go.
And I'm like, oh, shit, okay, so I'm not just making this once.
And wasting it.
Yeah.
Letting it go bad in the fridge.
And even in this book, they have a really obscure bitters recipe in here. And there is one drink that uses it, but I'm like, I'm glad you're telling me that I can use it.
There's only one drink.
And, dude, like there's like root beer bitters out there. I want to try those.
Well, that makes sense, because the root that it's from.
Yeah.
Sassafras.
And there's another one. There's this stuff called Pepsin bitters, and they don't make it anymore.
Like Pepsid AC?
Kind of.
The heartburn shit?
I don't know. But they don't make
heartburn?
it anymore. But apparently this recipe was like a precursor to Dr. Pepper, which is funny because like apparently everything went into Dr. It's the 23 flavors, but like, oh yeah, amaretto was a part of it.
Yeah, of
this bitters recipe eventually became it.
Yeah.
But this bitters recipe, it's like something else, I don't remember, and then Dr. Pepper that you boil down.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm excited to try that eventually.
Well, there was like this for a while. I remember it was popular when we were probably in college, but it was a flaming Dr. Pepper shot. Where it's like amaretto and 151 on fire, and then you drink it, it tastes like Dr. Pepper.
That'd actually probably be pretty good.
I think it's because amaretto tastes like Dr. Pepper.
But everyone, make sure you blow out your flame before you take the shot.
Idiots.
Also, put your vermouth in the fridge.
Yeah.
Also,
I thought everybody knew that.
No, I don't know. I'm just in case you didn't.
In case you didn't. Read the label.
Oh my God! Speaking of which, dude, because of dry January, I actually had to throw out some vermouths because it was I'm just like, oh, these are too old now.
Dang it.
I know.
What a waste.
I know. But so now, there's this YouTube channel, Anders Ericsson. He's a cocktail YouTuber.
Okay.
And he's got some. He's a fun guy. And
He's a mushroom?
Huh?
He's a mushroom.
Yeah. Well, but in his videos, anytime he talks about like going out, because he has, all these people have like how to build your bar at home for under $100.
I thought we said we were going to do that.
That's what we're doing today. Don't worry.
Yo, let's go.
I'm building up to it, Brandon.
Wonderful. Continue your story.
But he always says he's like, just buy the smaller bottle.
Yeah.
Because like
you'd rather run out than waste it.
Because I've lost more money in vermouth than in throwing it out than it would for me to like
save on buying the bigger bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also I feel like if I'm buying smaller ones, I can be like, oh, I'll do this one and that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
you
anyway.
get multiple different kinds. And
dude, I'm just done now. These are good. I like them.
Oh, I thought I was sipping mine a little too fast.
No, Danielle is over there. Oh, shoot. Danielle, we didn't get your rating.
Did you even try it yet? What'd you think?
Sorry, I forgot she was even over there, if I'm being honest.
It's good.
Wow, thanks. It was funny when... That's it?
That's all we get. It was good.
Okay. But when we were making these for you and me, we whipped them up, and then Danielle's just sitting there in the corner all cozied up reading her feminist literature. Sarah J. Maas, Throne of Glass.
Did you read that book?
No, I read A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Is that the first one where you were like, I don't even care
terrible.
for this? And she's like, you got to get past the first one. You're like, I'm not doing that. It's a whole fucking book.
Yeah. No, Danielle, I have to show you a Goodreads review that I saw that I loved, and it's just bad.
Yeah, okay.
I think.
All right. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, but so we whipped this, and Danielle's like, oh, don't I get one? And we're like...
She's like, I always get one when you guys podcast.
Yeah, and so we're like, oh, I get... And we're like, do you even like old fashions? And then she hits us with the, when they're done right. It's like, okay, geez.
Challenge accepted. Yeah. So I guess it was okay. I
think
you did all right then.
Barely drinking it, though. Throws this whole fit, and...
She's not a booze bag like we are.
No, I know. But, oh, dude, my first night back drinking, I went to the 801 Chop House for a happy hour, got a martini. Then we went to the Ritz, had a couple of martinis, and then had a Stella.
Ugh.
And as the first night back drinking, I think I hit it a little too hard. But it was...
Said no one ever.
Yeah, but it was rough. I just felt like, whoa. You know what I mean? And then another day afterwards, I was whipping up some cocktails. And I actually made myself throw up. Like, not because of, like, I had so much... But I was just like drinking them.
Yeah,
I probably
like
drank
the
them. I probably drank them too fast.
Yep.
And I didn't have a ton. It was only like 3, but just so much booze so fast. I was like, I don't feel good. And I like went to go. I was like walking down the hall, and then my body was like going to the bathroom. I was like, okay. And I went and I just like threw up like right away. And it was just like all that liquid.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I wasn't even like drunk. It was just my body's like too much poison too fast.
Too much.
Get it out of here.
Yep.
So you got to build up the poison tolerance. And I felt bad. I'm like, damn, I like threw up like when I wasn't even like trying to go crazy. It was just me being like, let me work through some cocktail. Let me see if this works and this works.
Yeah.
Because I have some bottles downstairs that I'm trying to be like, can I make this happen? Is this even still good? You know what I mean? And yeah, 3 cocktails. My body was like, you're done.
Well, when you chug them like you do LaCroix.
I know. Well, I mean, and even this one, but if it wasn't for the big ice cube, it's not very much liquid. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
yeah. Like if you, in a empty glass, put in an old fashioned, it's like, it's only 2 shots.
Well, I was going to say, like some of these other, like if I'm making a gin and tonic or vodka soda.
Gin and Thomas?
Yeah, if I'm making a gin and Thomas, but I'll just do my little bit of gin and then just fill it with soda or tonic, and you know what I mean? So, but anyway. Brandon,
I think it's about time.
It is about time because the back half of this episode, we're going to be getting deep in the weeds here.
Ayo.
And
you
so
know what you need when you're deep in the weeds? A second drink.
Absolutely. We'll be right back. All right, and we are back with our second drink. This time, we're using Brandon's Jack Daniel's Bonded Tennessee Whiskey. And we've talked about this in the past, about wanting to turn some of our bottles into glasses. This is one of them.
Oh, 100%.
Anytime the bottle has like the raised lettering,
Yes.
I'm like, I think I got to do it.
Yes.
The one problem is I have this one mezcal bottle at home that I absolutely love, and I think it would make a great glass, but it's like more rectangular, and I'm not sure how.
Right. No, I've thought about that too because I have that Boodle's gin.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, first of all, that's way too wide.
Yeah.
So maybe if there's a smaller bottle,
I mean,
there.
you know what that would be good for?
Candle.
That's what I was just about to say.
Maybe I could do that for mine too.
It make a
But it's
good
cool because on
candle.
the bottom it has the raised lettering. It says Mexico, and on the back it says mezcal.
Ooh.
But anyway, those Baiju bottles for sure.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah. But yeah, Jack Daniel's Bonded. It's a cool bottle.
Yeah. And I don't really generally go for a Jack Daniels, but I saw
Yeah.
that one. I was like, you know what? I'll give that a try. And that would go well.
Jack
in my
Daniel's Rye,
canter.
I think, is not bad for an entry level rye if you're mixing with it. It's not
Yeah, I
something
can
I
see
want to
that.
sip on, but I like
No.
mixing with it.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
But so here on the box says Bonded is a big, bold Tennessee whiskey with layered notes of caramel, rich oak, and spice, giving way to a pleasantly lingering finish. And I think all three of those is something that goes well with an orange. So we'll see.
Ew.
Let's hit our bevy here.
Ooh, brother.
I feel like it's a little smoother. I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just it's not as bright of a flavor. Maybe a little deeper.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because that caramel's like a deeper,
Yeah.
richer flavor. I feel
Definitely
like
different.
it burns my lips instead of my throat, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, both are
that's
100
good.
proof.
That's good.
And so, before we get into the back half of the show, I do want to talk about what this bonded is. So it's called the Bottled in Bond, BIB, is a label for American-produced distilled beverage that has been aged and bottled according to a set of legal regulations contained in the United States government standards contained in the United States government standards of identify for distilled spirits. Oh, identity, not identify. I'm sorry. I'm
jeez.
dumb. As originally specified in the Bottled in Bond Act of 1897 as a reaction to widespread adulteration of American whiskey. The act made the federal government's the guarantor of a spirit's authenticity, gave producers a tax incentive for participating, and helped ensure proper accounting and the collection of tax that was due. So, although the regulations apply to all spirits, most bonded spirits are whiskeys.
Makes sense.
And so, to be labeled as bottled in bond or bonded, the liquor must have been a product of one distillation season, so January through June or July through December, by one distiller at one distillery, and it must have been aged in a federally bonded warehouse under U.S. government supervision for at least 4 years and bottled at 100 proof or 50% alcohol by volume.
Damn.
The bottle's product label must identify the distillery where it was distilled and, if different, where it was bottled. Some consumers consider this term to be an endorsement of quality, while many producers consider it archaic and do not use it. Because bottled in bond whiskey must be the product of one distillation season, one distillery, and one distiller, whereas ordinary straight whiskey may be a product of the mingling of straight whiskeys or of the same grain type, with different ages and producers within a single state. It may be regarded as a better indication of the distiller's skill, making it similar in concept to a single malt, small batch, or single barrel whiskey.
Which Jack Daniels also does those too.
Yeah, so that's actually kind of cool.
I think it's cool as shit.
If we had a whiskey distillery,
We would probably do a bonded.
I'd want to
Yeah.
do bonded, because also, like, I don't know, I don't know, I just like it when something is super complicated.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah. I'd like to do something that shows that you have the skill to do it.
And I gotta say, both of these make a good old fashioned, so maybe bonded is the way to go. And here's the thing too, as I've I'm not saying that I am a master cocktail guy by any means.
Okay.
But like as I'm trying to get more into it, it's like I really want these spirits to stand out. It's very rare that I want to hide the spirit.
100%.
So I think like a 50% whiskey is great for if you're and this is not a rye, so maybe that's a little bit of the difference as well.
For sure.
Yeah, so that's probably why it tastes so different.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry.
1000%.
But I think like the stronger alcohol is good because it's just like if I'm making a gin cocktail, I want to taste the gin and I want it to taste like a whiskey. You know what I mean? And then I want to get the Demerara syrup to round off the whiskey. I want the orange for some brightness. But, you know, there are some gin cocktails out there that's like, this is the gin cocktail for someone that doesn't like gin. It's like, well, then don't make it for
Then
them.
don't make a gin cocktail.
Whatever. And also, if you don't like gin, you're a coward. I don't know.
Yeah. What?
Oh
I
my
think
God.
you just haven't tried the right amount of the right different gin.
Speaking of gin, I had a revelation. So, you know, I hate aviation gin. And it's not just because of Ryan Reynolds.
It's because they don't use the juniper.
They don't use juniper, and it just tastes bad, I think. But I love the bottle.
Of course.
But I was at Total Wine, and I made the realization he's trying to make a gin for people that don't like gin. Because he's like, I wanted to make it without the juniper, and that's what some people don't like. But I was at Total Wine, and it had a thing. It's like, this is what vodka wishes it was. And I was like, just make a vodka, Ryan Reynolds. I mean, he bought into aviation. He didn't, like, start it. He just bought it and put his name on it. But it's just like, just buy a vodka.
Yeah, if you're trying to take the gin out of the gin, just make a vodka.
I don't know. But I don't know anyone that likes it.
I haven't tried it, so.
And my friend Daniel, he also hates it. And he has a high class taste on things. I'm like, I was right.
There you go.
You know what I mean? See, if you said you liked aviation, I'd be like, I knew I never should have trusted Brandon.
Uh-oh. I guess I'll never try
He
it.
has bad taste. No, it's bad. Well, we went to the Armory one time, and I ordered a gin and tonic. And like, oh, what kind? And I was like, well is fine, whatever. And then I like took a sip. I was like, oh, God. And I was like, what is your gin? Is it aviation? And he's like, yeah. I was like, I don't want this. So I paid, and they were just like, all right. So I paid for a drink. I couldn't drink it. Aviation's that bad. But maybe it's just because we know what's going on now.
I guess.
And they're charging $6 for a Bud Light. Imagine how much I paid for a bad gin and tonic.
Ugh.
$7. I'm just kidding.
Damn. Not worth it.
And so, Brandon,
Thomas.
we talked about this a while ago, and then I went to Dry January. But we talked about building the bar. Because for New Year's, we talked about building your beer fridge.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about building the bar. And the Waldorf Astoria bar book, they have their own list on building the bar. So I thought we could go through that.
Sure.
Maybe change, like we'll look at what they say. We'll change it based on what we would like, and then maybe include some. What would we take out? What would we put in?
So I have a question.
Because there's 3 tiers to their list.
Okay. Now we're getting there. Because
Yeah.
I want to know, like, so now these tiers, are they size of the bar?
Kind of. It's more of like
Or
we'll
depth?
get there.
Okay, because, in these apartments in St. Louis, we kind of have a limited space. You know, we also rent. We're not building a bar that's not going anywhere kind of thing.
Okay. You want to hear the names?
Please.
The Let's Get Started, the Next Step, and the No Sense in Going Out.
Oh.
So those are the tiers.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But I will say, looking at this, there are some where I'm like, I would move that.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Like in the middle one, it's got something that you're like, that's off the wall that I'm only going to use like every once in a while. Might wanna
Yeah.
move that.
So,
These are making me burpy. It might be the 2 beers
really?
I had before.
Oh, okay.
this.
I was gonna say, like, really? This is like the flattest beverage. Sorry, I have like multiple books. I have my notebook in this so that we can keep track of what we're doing.
Please.
So, all right. How do you want to? Do you want me to read through all of it and then we riff, or go through each level? Because there's some where I'm like, oh, I might move that.
I definitely want to go through each level.
You want to like? Do you want me to go through the whole thing first, or just one by one?
One by one.
Okay.
One by one.
All right. So number 1, the Let's Get Started bar. Oh, and also, while you're building your bar, I also want to say, build your glassware.
Yeah, for sure.
I went to a thrift store near my place, and I got some great coupes. There were some Nick and Nora glasses I wanted as well.
I don't know what that means.
It's just a different style, a little smaller. A lot of modern martinis are actually served in too big of a glass.
Okay.
And so a Nick and Nora, it's smaller than a coupe, but it's real little. But that's
Yeah.
like what your martini should be. It's a whole thing.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense to me.
And so, get a coupe, get a rocks glass, get a highball / Tom Collins. There is a difference, but it's not really too noticeable, I don't think. And then there's like a double rocks glass, which is this, but a little bigger.
I know we don't have any doubles.
Yeah, you need a coupe, man. I have coupes at home, and I like, and they're too nice for me to try to bring over here.
Well, funny enough, my mom has some coupe glasses that are beautiful crystal from my grandma.
You know, I found this out. Crystal has lead in it. That's what makes it so shiny.
Oh, you mean lead crystal has lead in it? Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, I didn't know it was called lead crystal. I just thought it was called crystal.
Not all of it is lead crystal. But
yeah, but crystal without lead is not as lustrous. So anyway, I just found that out.
Makes sense to me.
And the guy that told me that, his wife is she gets a little hypochondriac kind of thing. She's like, oh my God, you're going to die of lead poisoning. He's like, first of all, like you have to have it like in a decanter, have it sitting there for so long and then be constantly drinking. Like you're not going to get lead poisoning out of like a normal amount of drinking.
Yeah.
And don't have something sitting in your crystal decanter for 2 years.
I don't think anything sits in my decanters longer than...
I don't even think those are crystal.
They're not. They're glass.
Yeah.
But I don't think anything sits in my decanters longer than like a month.
Well, and he has whiskey that he puts in his decanter, but he puts it in there for like... He's like, oh, I have people coming over and we're going to have some whiskey. I want it to look nice.
Yeah.
It's not just there for show. Anyway, so level 1, the Let's Get Started bar. London Dry Gin, Old Tom Gin, Genever, White Rum, Rye Whiskey, and Cognac. Here's my problem with level 1. I feel like
some problems.
I feel like half of that needs to be in the next level.
First of all, there's too many gins.
Yeah. Old Tom Gin, it's good.
I don't know what that is.
It was just
a basic gin.
Well, it was like the gin before London Dry. Like almost every gin we drink is London. I'll have to get some. I don't really know how to describe it. It's just different.
I know what you're saying.
So London Dry is like the new standard, but it wasn't always.
I feel like you just need one good gin for your beginner bar.
Exactly. Well, yeah, ultimately. And then Genever, I would move that up.
What even is that?
Well, all right. So here's the thing: is Genever is Dutch for gin. So people, so people consider it like people call it Dutch gin, but it's juniper. Here, I brought it up on Wikipedia.
Thank you. Wikipedia.
It is Wikipedia. It's a juniper flavored traditional liquor in the Netherlands, Belgium, and adjoining areas.
So gin.
Yeah. Oh, it has a designation of origin.
Oh, those sons of bitches.
I know. So
see, I don't need three gins. I don't need 3 gins in my beginner bar.
Okay, so gin was developed after.
Yeah.
So it's a precursor to gin.
Okay.
So you have 2 gins and then something close to gin.
Gin adjacent.
So I would move old. There's other steps, so we'll get in. Let me write these down because I'm gonna have so many. I'm writing this in my notebook, so I don't ruin my book. But there's gonna be a lot of crossing lines here where we're gonna move things. So let me write these down here.
Well, you should have have a separate category for what we would put.
Yeah. Well, that's what's here.
All right. I was gonna say this.
Jennifer.
We don't need 3 gins in a beginner bar.
Yeah. So and then white rum, I'm good with that. Rye whiskey, I'm good with that. And then cognac,
Pass.
Maybe I would move that up to 2.
You definitely don't need a cognac in your beginner bar.
Okay. And so the next step bar. This is level 2.
Oh, I thought we'd go over what we would put in our beginner bar.
Okay, we can put it. I was going to say when we get to the other ones, I'd move them back. But what are you going to put in here?
Okay. So my beginner bar. Do we have like a number that we need to stop at?
There's 3 tiers here.
No. Number of like bottles.
No, you can just. I mean, I wouldn't go crazy.
I'm not gonna go crazy. You ready for this?
All right. So we took 3 things out of tier 1. So let's add 3 or 4.
Okay, but I'm gonna start. I'm gonna repeat so you can get it all in one go.
Okay. So let's say what we're keeping. We
Gin.
have London Dry.
Yes.
White rum. A rye whiskey.
Okay.
I'm going to keep it at rye because there is like a bourbon and stuff, and those come up later. But so I'm going to keep the rye whiskey.
Yeah.
Because that's what's most common in pre-prohibition cocktails. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
I think you need a vodka.
Okay.
And not a cheap vodka, just like a good solid.
I think like a $20 to $30 bottle.
Yeah, like a good solid vodka.
You know what I've been appreciating lately is like a higher end, like a Grey Goose.
Really?
I think I might be getting into Grey Goose.
I need to try it again. I tried it when I was too early into drinking.
Yeah, we should bring some on. There's just not a lot of good vodka cocktails.
I was going to say, we haven't really had any vodka cocktails on here, but when we do, maybe we should showcase a Grey Goose or something like that.
I love a Grey Goose lately, which you didn't hear from me, but like the Costco vodka is like the same shit.
Makes sense to me.
All right, so we're adding vodka.
Okay. So if we stay with the same numbers, we need like 2 more.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we can go one more. Because this is let's get started, man.
Sure. And these are so you can make cocktails? Is that what? Okay.
Mm-hmm. So actually, that's a good point. So I'm going to add, I might want to add a sweet vermouth. So that gives you a Manhattan, so I want to add a sweet vermouth.
You should.
And then I also want to add, do I want to add Campari? Because that's only good for like a Negroni.
No, you want a tequila.
Oh, that's right.
There's no tequila in your starter bar.
Yeah, it comes up later than you would think. But anyway, yeah, so we're going to do vodka, sweet vermouth, and tequila. Anything else that you want to put in level 1?
I mean, if you have a tequila, you kind of want like a triple sec. But is that like an add-on?
See, I think that might be more of a level 2. I think.
I guess, but like, no, you're right. Because you're thinking your beginner bar, you're not getting too crazy. You're probably going to have like a lot of double ingredient cocktails.
And I'm going to take out mixers. Like you're going to have your Coca-Colas. You're going to have your tonics.
Yeah, of course.
And your soda water.
Of course.
Your lemons and limes.
I would almost argue that like bitters are a mixer as well.
Yeah, all right, we'll tell you what. This is what we'll do. For level 1, we'll put in Angostura.
Yeah, you get like your basic bitters that you use for everything.
Orange.
Orange bitters?
Yeah, because right here, you can make an old-fashioned in level 1 now.
You should be able to make an old-fashioned with your level 1 bar.
Yeah. Gin and tonic and lime. All right, okay, next level, level 2.
I agree. I think that's a good... Do you want to read them off one more time so we know exactly what's all in there?
So we're doing vodka, a sweet vermouth, tequila, gin, or London dry gin, rye whiskey, white rum, Angostura, and orange bitters.
I think that's a solid beginner bar.
Mm-hmm.
You could do a lot with that. It's very versatile.
And also, those of you at home, build it the way you want to. Because I personally,
for sure, like if you don't like gin at all, don't put a gin in there.
And so, I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do tequila / mezcal.
That's fine.
Because I prefer a mezcal. But
I decided I don't.
You goddamn bitch.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. I like the
pure.
I'm a purist. I'm a tequila
might
purist.
Not like next week's episode.
Oh, Jesus.
No, it's not too bad. But I'm going to say pick one and then get the other one in level 2.
Yeah.
Because each one has its strengths.
Pick your favorite for your beginner bar.
Okay, so level 2, according to the Waldorf Astoria, Applejack, Bonded, or Calvados, which is a apple brandy.
Okay.
We used it in the apple blossom cocktail, and it goes into some others, so I might be okay with that, because it has some good uses.
Okay.
Apricot liqueur. Remember, this is the next step. Okay.
I understand that, but come on.
All right, so we'll go through it. Amber rum, dark rum, so maybe kind of like with tequila mezcal, maybe put those together.
Sure.
Bourbon whiskey, Plymouth gin. How many gins do they want you to have?
You don't need that many gins.
And then Scotch whiskey.
Okay. I don't know any cocktails that use Scotch, but okay.
There are some. But also maybe you want to sip on it.
I'm imagining this is your cocktail bar, so I would say we are leaving out the things that you would sip on.
I mean, I don't know. All right, so
I would feel like...
Is there anything out of this list you want to move up?
The Scotch. Take the Scotch out of there.
Take the Scotch
no,
out?
hold on.
Because then level 3 is going to be crazy long.
Hold on. First of all, I love a Scotch and soda.
Yeah.
There you
go.
I almost might move that down.
You might put a Scotch in level 1?
Yeah. That's for me. If you don't like Scotch, then don't put it in your level 1.
Yeah.
But for me, I would put a Scotch in level 1 because I like a good Scotch and soda.
Yeah. Okay. I think I might leave this where it is. So so we have Genever, Old Tom Gin, Cognac. I might put Cognac in here.
Yeah, I'd put a Cognac in there because there's quite a few, we haven't done a ton, but there's quite a few cocktails that use Cognac.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to mostly keep this where it is, I think. Applejack or Calvados, apricot liqueur, amber rum, dark rum.
What do you need an apricot liqueur
There are
for?
some good cocktails out there for
Yeah, but
it.
is it necessary? Like,
Brandon,
could you swap it out?
Brandon, this is the next step.
I know, but could you swap that out for something that you're going to use more often?
I think you just might not know how many apricot brandy cocktails there are, or apricot liqueurs cocktails there are.
I guess I don't.
I can bring them to the show. We'll find out.
We'll find out. Apparently.
Amber rum and dark rum. I think that's a good second level.
I would put, I would just put that as a spiced rum. Just spiced rum.
And then pick your favorite out of the two. Because I like a dark rum, but it's not as versatile.
Well,
I think
I would
amber
say,
rum is the spiced rum. And then
okay.
dark rum is something like Kraken or Gosling where it's black.
So, yeah, I would say maybe just pick the one that you use more often because I don't think you need both necessarily.
Yeah. Plymouth gin, there are some gins that call for that. It's a very specific style.
Okay.
And then you have Scotch whiskey. All right, so then number 3, the no sense in going out bar.
Dude, you're gonna need, well, not that you're gonna need a lot, but I can already envision quite a few things that I would want in there that would keep me home.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. There's some interesting things here. So Irish whiskey,
Okay.
rum agricole. Are you familiar with that? It's like its own. It's like a rum but different. It's like, you know how cachaca is like almost a rum.
Yeah.
Cachaca is made from sugar cane juice.
Yeah.
Rum agricole is made from sugar cane.
Got it.
And then
Instead
rum
of
is made from molasses. Tequila blanco, so we're putting that in like 1. Mezcal, which we're putting as like /1. You know, if you get a tequila or mezcal in level 1, maybe wait until level 3 to get the next one. Because they're so similar. Like, if you really want to have a complete bar, I don't think you need it until you're totally finishing.
No. Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Tequila Respirado, which is like an aged tequila. Have you had it at Respirado?
What was the one?
I think you would like it.
What was the one we had at
that was almost like a rum? That was a Respirado.
Oh, yeah, I like that. That was good.
Yeah, but that was that one. Because I've had other Respirados, and they weren't as rummy.
Yeah.
But they're still good. It just takes that, I think it kind of takes the tequila aftertaste out.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like tequila.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then we have vodka, which we put in level 1.
As it should be.
Benedictine, which I'm fine with. Campari.
What is Benedictine? Benedictine, like a flow. I think I heard that in a song. It's just blessed wine.
And well, no. So Benedictine is it's an herbal liqueur from France.
Okay.
Herbal liqueur. There's
it.
so many. I don't really know how to. It's its own thing. I don't really know how to compare it.
Yeah, anything that says it's herbal is kind of its own thing.
Campari.
Please.
I might put Campari in level 2.
Dude, I might just because I love a Negroni. But
yeah, I might put that in level 2.
You know, if you like Negronis and you're above a beginner, then that should be level 2.
I have Campari at home only for when I'm gonna have a Negroni.
Well, so I wouldn't put me in the category of having I'm not leaving the house bar. I think I'm a little bit above a beginner bar.
Yeah.
If I can keep the liquor in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have Campari in my middle,
green chartreuse, which is another herbal liqueur. But here's the thing.
Makes me think of a tree.
It is.
A shrub.
It's made by these like Chartreusian monks.
Oh.
But they said we're focusing too much on the booze. We're not praying enough. So they're severely cutting back on their chartreuse production, and it is
hard to find.
Impossible to find out. And people are hoarding it. They're like, I'm gonna hold on to this bottle for 20 years, which is devastating because I haven't really had a ton of cocktails with it. I'm like, what the? I missed out.
Yeah.
But then there's also yellow chartreuse. But there's alternatives. Your chartreuse is very much it's its own thing. But there are some great
close
ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we have creme de cacao white, and then
you should have that.
And then creme de menthe white.
You should have that too.
Yeah,
I think both of those are definitely needed.
Based on what we took out from earlier, the Genever, the Old Tom gin, cognac. I'm thinking put in level 2.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is there. A coffee liqueur. Where would you put a coffee liqueur? I might put that in level 2. So have your White Russians.
Yeah, White Russians
and Black Russians.
Espresso martini. Well, I guess you kind of some.
Yeah. So I might put a coffee liqueur in step 2. Where else? What? So that's their list. So what else would you maybe want to put in your bar, and then put in what level?
Honestly,
An elderflower liqueur, I might put in level 2. A Baiju, level 3.
level 3 Baiju for sure. I agree with the elderflower in the second level. Some of these that, and again,
Oh, you know what's? Sorry to interrupt, but you know what? So I've been doing a little more research on this stuff, and so people call bitters like the salt and pepper of your drink,
for sure.
and someone called elderflower liqueur like a bartender's ketchup because it just tastes good on everything.
That's funny. I like that.
Oh, but speaking of bitters, there's such a litany of bitters, but I might put like spiced cherry and chocolate bitters in number 2. Maybe like a habanero or a chili bitters in level 3.
There's so many.
But there's so many you can't name them all. But those are some good ones I would maybe do. Because next week's episode, not to tease it, it said you could do like a habanero tincture or like a hot sauce thing.
Yeah.
We're going to do hot sauce a little bit. Sorry to spoil one ingredient. But I'm like, damn, like this maybe would have done well with some habanero bitters or a jalapeno bitters.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. I feel like bitters are their own thing.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to like, what
Brandon?
kind of cocktails
Brandon,
you like.
When I've made the homemade bitters, we'll how to stock your bitters. We'll do that.
Yeah. What level do you need for your bitters?
2024 is the year of building your bar.
Okay,
We're doing it.
It's the bitter year.
Because I'm building up my bar at home.
Uh-huh.
You're going to be doing your own thing.
I'm kind of excited. I have some plans.
We are going to be we're going to both be at the sense of like there's no use in going out, but neither of us are going to go over to the other place's house because we're both going to be convinced we have the better bar. So we're just before you know we're just going to be FaceTiming, being like, "This is what I made. Oh, this is what I made."
Be honest with you. If we buy a house, we're not going to be going out.
Yeah. No, that's the other thing. That is
cocktail night at our house.
I'll tell you that, and that's what I want to be doing too.
$5 cover.
That'd be hilarious. Wouldn't that be so cool?
I mean,
if
that
we were just like
throw in a couple of bucks.
Tonight's cocktail night's at Brandon's. Oh, next week we're going to Tom's. Like, wouldn't it be so cool?
Yeah.
Like, instead of like bar hopping, it's like Brandon has this vibe and he makes these drinks. Thomas has this vibe, he makes these drinks. And this is what also I've discovered. I can make cocktails so much better for like a quarter of the price at home. Going out sucks.
Yes. Short answer is yes.
I mean, like obviously there's something to say about like the environment and all that, but it's like I would love to get something playing on a vinyl, get some dim lighting, and then just how you doing? How's your old fashioned? How's your Negroni?
Dude, I really do like Calypso. And that's, maybe the exception, like that's the elevated bar that I would probably go to. But yeah, unless you're just like going out to drink your beer and get drunk, like
yeah.
Oh. Have we even talked about this? The plastic cups I got?
I don't know.
They're bomb cups.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So, you saw these online? Is that how you discovered them?
I think I saw them on Instagram. And
so for those of you listening, it's like a what do we do? The car bombs?
Car bombs.
So what's a car bomb? It's a Guinness, and then you have a drop of, is it a shot glass of Kahlua or something like that? Or no, Irish cream.
At a bar, you get a pint glass halfway filled with Guinness, and then a shot glass half full of Jameson, and then half
Irish
cream, and then you drop it in and you chug it. The outside, so it's like, it almost looks like from the top it looks like a donut. The outside you fill with the beer, and the inside is like a little mini shot glass built in, and you fill it with your liqueurs. And then as you drink it, it mixes. Which
is great, because anytime I drop my shot glass, I make
everywhere.
too much of a mess.
It goes everywhere.
Well, because I see other people doing it, and I'm like, how am I the only guy getting this wrong? But then I realize, like I'll look over here and see someone doing it right, and then I look to everyone to my left, and everyone else has splashed it. I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one. But no, I like that way better, because it's just like I mean,
also,
I don't know.
it's a smaller amount, too.
Yeah.
It's a smaller shot glass amount. It's a smaller, like, cup in general. But
There is a little bit of the magic of dropping your shot glass into a drink, but the fun of it is, like, we're all doing this together.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, it's just like doing a chug or a shot. But I think those are really cool.
You may have to christen the house.
Okay, all right, this is what we're going to do, Brandon. We've built the beer fridge.
Yeah.
We've built the bar. We might come in later to refine this.
Build the glassware.
We're going to build the glassware, and we're going to build the bitters.
Okay.
Okay?
Stay tuned.
And then maybe we'll do like a build. I'm just spitballing here.
Sure, please.
But like maybe a build the syrups. What do you need to real? Because there's a lot more than simple syrup here, Brandon.
Yeah.
So 2024, we're building the goddamn bar.
Building a bar.
We're building the bar.
Are we starting a bar? Puzzles. No.
Why is it called puzzles?
That's the puzzle.
Oh, you know what's really interesting? And I thought about this. Of getting a neon sign that says coffee house, right?
Uh-huh.
Because some of the first bars were called coffee houses because you could get a drink and your bevy. And I'm like, and I just feel like it'd be cool to have a little thing that says coffee house above the bar.
Sure.
Just as like a little nod. Well, there you go. That's what they used to be called.
So we know Thomas's vibe.
Yeah.
That's not my vibe, but
Well, no, it's a little, not the biggest sign. The biggest sign is obviously the Jen and Thomas neon sign. But you know what I mean? Just like a little thing.
yeah.
Or maybe, I don't know, or maybe some custom matchbooks that say coffee house.
That's
something
kinda,
like that.
I like that.
I like that too.
I like that.
But I just want something
To light your cigar with.
Oh yeah, but I want something as a little nod to the old days.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I already have a name.
I don't know. Sorry, I'm liking it. Well,
I already have a name for my bar, but
I don't have one for me.
I should rename. I should have a different name for my home bar.
Yeah. Well, no, coffee house is not the name of my home bar.
Right.
I'll have to think about that.
My home bar is the car.
The car?
Because it's not the sidecar. It's the car.
Okay.
That goes with the sidecar. No, I don't know.
Be like, this is the bar, and then that's the sidecar, and it's just a closet because it's the side of the car. The car is good.
If we get this house, yeah, the bar will have a closet.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna set that room up, but I know what I want. I know what I want it to look like.
Yeah, I gotta think of cool names, man. Tommy's Place. I don't know.
Tommy's Place.
I don't know. I'll think of something. Unfortunately, Waldorf Astoria has already taken because that was my second pick.
Right.
Real quick, fun fact. So this book I have here, the Oxford Companion to Spirits and Cocktails. Do you know why they're called spirits?
I thought did we not? I thought we talked about this.
I don't know, but if we didn't, I'm going to tell you again.
Please, and then
Or if we did, I'll tell you again.
Tell me why, and then I'll tell you if we've talked about this.
Well, it's because with the first distilling that these people do, because a lot of bitters were originally medicinal. A lot of bitters were like, oh, here, you take this and you put a little bit in your drink, and it'll help your stomach feel better. It'll help your tooth pain, right?
Cock your tail in the morning.
Cock your tail in the morning. And so it was, they would get all these mixes of different plants, and these plants together will do this thing for me, right?
Get you drunk.
Well, it's like how medicine works. It's you get all these things. But so when they were distilling all these plants, they were getting the spirit of the plant.
Oh, gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah, the essence, the spirit of the plant. Yeah. Pretty cool. You know what's interesting too? We were just kind of talking about bitters. I love this podcast called Gastropod, and it's like it's the science and history of food and things like that. And they recently did an episode on bitters. I love this podcast, Brandon, but to be honest, I found it a little lacking.
The bitter one?
Yeah, the bitters one. I feel like they could have done a part 2 or dived a little deeper. I just felt like, I'm not saying I know more than they do, but it's I know it goes deeper than this.
Yeah. You're like,
you know what I mean?
You're just tickling the surface, but you're thinking, or you're not even expressing that you're just tickling the surface.
Yeah, well, and they do an hour episode, which is fine for a podcast, but they did bitters, and then they also did Amaros, aperitifs, and digestifs. I'm like, those could have been their own. Just focus on my little
all that
bitters.
In one?
Yeah, I know.
Are you kidding me?
I know, Brandon. That's why I found it lacking.
I'm not even
Brandon, Ron Swanson says don't half-ass 2 things. They half-ass 3. The bitters, aperitifs, and digestives.
I'm not as passionate as you are about cocktails, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fine.
but that pisses me off.
I know, I'm pissed. Because I was like, you know, I was like LeBron James when he won his chip. They're like, oh, LeBron, you won your ring. How's it feel? And he goes, it's about damn time. Like when I saw the Bitters episode come up, I was like, it's about damn time.
And then
I was a little let down.
Yeah.
But they have a great cocktail episode that I think is a lot of fun. You know who else has a great cocktail episode?
Jen and Tom. Oh.
Yeah. The podcast Ologies. I think I have shouted this out before, but they have a mix. Every episode is a different ology, but they have a mixology episode, and it's about this guy. He's like,
do they have a fixology episode?
No, they're waiting for you. They're waiting for you to get on the show.
Shout out to me. Come on. Go to the end for where to reach me.
Yeah. Just don't listen. Just skip to the end. No.
Call me, beat me if you want to reach me.
Yeah. But this guy, he just started like getting crazy with it. He's like, I do all these infusions and I whatever.
Skittles
and,
vodka.
yeah, well, no, and he's just kind of he was talking about how he does. His thing is he's like, pick an ingredient you like. Maybe you really like cherries. Do like 3 to 4 things with it. Make an infusion. Make a syrup. Make a bitters.
Okay.
And then, but do those separately, and then build around that individually. Build around your infusion. Build around your syrup. And
couple different cocktails with each kind of thing. Yeah.
And so that's kind of like how he got into it. So he has a bar in LA. I can't remember the name, and I don't even remember the guy's name. And so, but anyway, the way he talks about it, it was just really cool. And he does a lot of the stuff I want to do. Of like, he's like doing these wild infusions and this wild homemade stuff, and that's just his brand. I'm like, that's really cool. And he kind of, every drink he makes, he doesn't like, if you ask for like an old fashioned, he'll make you an old-fashioned, but he might ask you, like, what's your favorite vegetable? You'd be like, I don't know, beetroot. And then you have a beetroot old-fashioned. You'd be like, oh, shit. But he'll be like, okay, if you like this one thing, I know this different thing pairs with that. So I'll make a Negroni. But you know how we were mixing this Negroni with the orange peel in it?
Yeah.
He might make a Negroni in there and start with the orange peel in there. And then maybe have a coffee bean infused sweet vermouth in there too. And you'll be like, an orange coffee Negroni? I didn't think that would work, but it does.
So that makes me think of, we talked about wanting to go to the
the Waldorf Astoria.
Yeah, sorry.
So there's one in Chicago, which is not far from us. So that's why we were talking about it. Their bar is called the Peacock Room, I believe.
So we've talked about wanting to go there, but there was, and I know we've talked about this before, down in New Orleans, like it was like a hotel bar, but the guy just goes, "What do you like?"
Well, you know what's great is
makes you a cocktail.
Yeah, so many cocktail origin stories are in hotel bars. I never really, for a long time, I never really considered them as like these like crazy things. I was like, oh, it's just where you go to drink at a hotel. But if you go to a nice hotel, the bars are badass, and there's a few cocktails. Well, they'll be like, the ambassador for Japan is staying here. Can you make something to impress him? And then, fucking the guy at the bar's like, soy sauce martini. No, I don't know. But apparently a lot of these drinks were created because someone was staying at that hotel, and then they're like, I got to show off to this guy.
Right.
Which is just kind of fun.
It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun.
I don't know. And there's a certain romanticism to like a hotel bar. You just have all these people just passing through, but maybe they're like, I had the best drink of my life at the Hotel Monte Vista in Flagstaff, Arizona. I'm telling you right now, the best hot toddy you've ever had in your fucking life was at the Hotel Monte Vista.
I cannot, for the life of me, remember the name of that place, but I'm going to find it because that was one of the best cocktails I've ever had. It was insane.
Hold on, sorry.
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
When I was visiting in Pittsburgh, I went to this hotel bar. I think it was the Industry Hotel, and they had like a smoked simple syrup old fashioned, and that shit was amazing. And I'm on vacation with my parents, Brandon, so I can't be getting fucking crazy.
Yeah, but you could.
Well, yeah. So I didn't try the whole list of cocktails.
Gotcha.
So I only tried a couple, but I was like, damn, that was good. And I tried a couple others. But first of all, Pittsburgh, great cocktail town.
Okay.
We got to go. Boys trip. Let's go.
You got it. Bears, Steelers.
I don't know when that's going to be.
I don't either.
It might be coming up.
It'd be cool if it was next year.
We'll figure it out. But anyway, we're building the bar. But so I don't know what got me on that whole tangent. We're building up the bitters. We're building up the infusions. We're going to be building up whatever. Yeah, because I'm going to be doing some infusions this year. So maybe towards the end of the year, we could rank our homemade stuff. That'd be a lot of fun.
Oh, okay. I'm down with that.
Let me write that down too. So at the end of the year, I'm going to be like, what the fuck is this? Sorry, I'm just filling these pages. Fusion. Jesus, dude. 2025. Could you imagine that next year?
I'm going to be 30.
Yeah, I'm turning 29 in a couple months.
I'll be 30 in 2025. I don't want to think about it.
Gross.
So.
Yes. I mean, so.
There was a what do we want to call it? A segment. There was a segment. A while back.
An occasional segment. Brackets when we remember.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. These gentleman cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the old-fashioned warrants a gentleman card.
Yeah. Oh, real quick.
Please.
Another thing I'm going to write down for next week.
Jesus. Got a full page over there.
Yeah. Well, 2 full pages, but how do I describe this? Classy drinks to order so you don't look dumb at a bar.
I like that.
Let me...
Student, stay tuned.
Yeah, so here, you talk while I get this written down.
Okay. So our gentleman card of the week is the Ace of Hearts, a fan favorite.
I love an Ace of Hearts.
Everybody loves the Ace of Hearts. A non-hateable card. Loyalty is the title here. Loyalty...
I'm going to say this. I'm loyal to a good goddamn drink. And that's what this week was.
Loyalty is how you honor others and the bond you have between them. A gentleman knows the importance of loyalty.
I like that.
A gentleman is loyal, essentially.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And, let's speak to loyalty a little bit. Loyalty doesn't mean standing by when someone is doing something wrong.
Correct.
But you can't be turning your back on the people that you're closest to.
No.
You can't be bailing.
No.
You got to know who's in your circle. Be the ride or die. But if someone is wrong, I think it's very important to stand up to that sometimes.
You could be loyal to a fault where,
exactly.
You do stick around. You're like, you get in the fight because your buddy was talking shit, and it's like, that's not necessarily what we're talking about here,
Yeah.
I think the right amount of loyalty is letting them know, hey, you stand up for them, but then behind, afterwards you're like, hey, dude, that was gonna fucked up. You probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, exactly. No one to call it out. Don't just stand by.
Yeah.
But that's just if someone's not being cool. But loyalty, it's also just not bailing.
Not bailing.
Because it's huge, especially now. Sorry, I slurred that first word.
I didn't know what you said, and I was waiting for you. I was waiting for the context clues.
Yeah. But anyway,
2 old fashions that'll do that to you.
Yeah, they'll do it. But anyway, Brandon, I tell you what, these old fashions are running right through me, so we gotta close out the show.
Agreed. I'm in the same boat.
Brandon,
this piss-filled boat.
Brandon, where can they find you?
At Brandon Churchill on YouTube, Brandon_Churchill_95 on Instagram, and at Brandon Churchill on Twitter without the U in Churchill, and find me in the streets.
As for me, you can find me on Instagram at Capt Cool Kid, that is CAPT Cool Kid, as well as Bad Boy of Botany. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at Jen and Thomas Pod, and that is where to find us, ultimately.
Oh, also, you will be able to find us in the streets this week because it is Mardi Gras.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Super Bowl and Mardi Gras, but don't worry about that. That's not important.
Yeah.
Find us in the streets.
Yeah, well, speaking of the Super Bowl, we didn't really talk about it this week. I kind of don't care about this one.
Don't care.
Yeah,
it's a red Super Bowl. Who gives a shit?
Red, Taylor's version?
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, no, I just... Sorry we didn't talk about it. I just don't care.
The 40 Chiefs Niners.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Sorry, I'm just so distracted by how much I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, the Instagram is where to find us. We post the pictures of the drinks and the recipes, so we let you know when an episode is out. We do these off the pod reviews. So when we go out to drink, we'll show you what's going on, and we want to, and then the stories. Sometimes we ask for questions. If you have a drink recommendation, send it to us. I'm trying to come up with some more stuff to flood the feed with, but we're building it. You know what I mean? But that is where to stay up to date. On YouTube, Jen and Thomas Podcast. The episodes go up there, and eventually we'll have more.
Eventually.
But you
Eventually.
gotta.
We're adults. We
yeah.
have other shit going on.
You have to film it.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
But I think that's it. Anyway, Brandon, Oliver, that rat bastard of a cat. First of all, Oliver is the most like stereotypical like orange cat behavior. Orange cat.
100%.
You know what I mean? So I shouldn't resent him for what he is.
He is also a distinguished gentleman.
Yeah, he is. He's very fluffy, but he has like not fluffy legs, so it's kind of funny. He's on these little toothpicks. Oh, all right. Danielle has something to say.
Speaking of the distinguished gentleman, you know how at weddings, like everyone has like a specialty drink, and a lot of times it's like named after their animal or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to have a drink with Oliver as the picture, and it's gonna have him in a matching bow tie.
And you say, "I'll have the rat bastard, please."
No, but we should do that one. No, it's going to be called the Distinguished Gentleman drink.
Oh, that's nice.
But we don't know what the drink is yet.
To wait to find out what we ended up going with, because we don't want the people who do listen that will be at the wedding. We don't want them to know ahead of time.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe we can just go over core concepts.
Core concepts.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So anyway, that's where you find Brandon. That's where you find me. That's where you find the pod.
You know how we close it out.
Yeah, we know how to. Sorry, I was trying to think of that's how you find this cat, but that's not how you. You're not gonna
find him.
He's an indoor cat. He's not in the streets. So you know how we close it out here, everybody. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and go on a boat. And don't drink and scoot. But most importantly,
Don't drink and pet a cat.
be safe, be kind, and good night.